So yeah, we'll be doing a little introduction about the Society for Dance Research, who we are, what we do. Then we'll move on to look at who Ivor Guest was, who these grants are actually named after. Then the application process, some example of past projects, some additional support, and then any questions that you might have. So yeah, maybe bank any questions you have up for the end, and then we can address those, and you're welcome to ask specific questions about your projects. So I'm going to hand over to Lise, who is going to take the next part.
Great. Hi, everyone. So just a little bit more about the Society for Dance Research. We are a UK-based charity which has members in various parts of the world. And the key part of our mission is to advance education and research into the art of dance in all its forms and aspects for the benefit of the public. We publish a scholarly journal called Dance Research, and this is published by Edinburgh University Press. And we also publish a book series entitled Dance in Dialogue through Bloomsbury Academic. We host conferences and events throughout the year. And recently, so since 2019, we've also started to award small research grants. For those of you who are not yet members of the Society, it might be worth considering becoming a member. As a member, you will receive print copies of the Dance Research journal. You will receive discounts to Edinburgh University Press publications, as well as Bloomsbury publications, and you will receive discounts or free tickets for events that we organize, as well as a newsletter twice a year. And the prices of membership are quite reasonable. You can find more information on our website. And yeah, maybe just to say that we are run predominantly by a group of volunteers on the executive committee, and there's a photo of quite a few of us at our recent away day in April. And I wanted to just say something about Ivor Guest after who these grants are named. So Ivor Guest recently passed away in 2018, and he was a British historian and writer who published predominantly on ballet history and biographies focused on the 18th and 19th century. So I've put a few of the book covers at the bottom there so you can get an idea. And Ivor was the founding president of the Society in 1982. He was also a practicing lawyer, so he brought his sort of legal background to that initial work. And he also worked as an advisor to the Royal Academy of Dance and the magazine Dancing Times. So someone who was very active in support of dance research. You can read more about Ivor online. So there have been a number of obituaries published, and also in Dance Research in the online archive, there have been sort of various articles acknowledging his work and research. I'll hand over back to Ella.
Yeah, and also just to add that we've recently been given the copyright to all Ivor Guest's work. So we will be working on making that publicly accessible over the next year or so, which is quite exciting. And actually, we unearthed like 250 copies that even dance books weren't aware of. So there's like so much material that he has written about. It's quite unbelievable, actually.
Yeah, sorry. Can I just go back and add that Ivor, after he died, we were contacted by the people processing his estate, and he left us a bequest as a society. of £5,000, which we have used to start up these Ivor Guest Research Grants. And even though that £5,000 has now all been awarded, we are continuing the grants for at least for the next few years. But yeah, I thought I should mention that.
So we're in the 4th round of the Ivor Guest Research Grants now. The grants are now open to all. Originally, it was only for membership, or you were granted a bursary, but we wanted to make them as available as possible, so anyone can apply. The awards are for up to £500, and they are to support the pursuit of dance research, recognising the many forms that this could take in accordance with the Society's objectives, and to advance dance education and research for the benefit of the Society. We are looking to really assess projects based on a criteria that we've been kind of, I guess, developing in the last 4 years over the process of creating these grants. So we're looking at projects which have demonstrated a rigour of research in the research proposal, the strength of the budget, and the impact of the grant on the career development of the researcher. The deadline for applications is the 1st of September, and this year we're also welcoming applications via video. And if you do wish to apply by video, we're asking that you refer to the application form, answering the questions that are there on that form, and the maximum length we would need is 5 minutes for that video, and it should be sent via WeTransfer. So to apply, we ask you to fill out the application form, provide a budget, your CV, and an equal opportunities and monitoring form. So this should state your contact details and current position. And I just want to explain a little bit about why we wish to know the current position of the applicant. So, and this kind of affects the budget, and this is something quite important to take note of. So if you are in a full-time salaried role within an institution, your costs as a researcher we would expect to be covered by your institution. If you are a freelance independent artist, you can write in your fees for the project. So that's just a little distinction on, I know it says it on the website, but just to be super clear, because sometimes there's been a little bit of confusion around that. We ask for you to provide a project title and an abstract of no more than 150 words that would summarise the project and what you're proposing. Then we ask for a longer description of the project, no more than 500 words, which is a little bit more specific. So it would cover the aims and objectives of your research, the research questions, the background and the context, the methodology, so how you would go about undertaking the research, and then a proposed timetable for that. And obviously, over the past few years with COVID, we've experienced a shift in the external context. So your timetable could shift and change. So, approximations is also fine. Just a little bit about the budget, so what you can and can't include, which you've probably already had a look at on the website. I'm just going to get the application guidelines in front of me. So we do not support conference organisation, costs associated with attendance at conferences, equipment, so things like books and journal subscriptions, and membership of associations. We do allow for staff costs, as I've mentioned. That depends on your position, whether you're in an institution or not. But let's say that you're working on a film and you want to work with a videographer, then their costs, of course, would be covered by the grant. When it comes to the budget, I think what we're really looking for is, it's obviously only £500, which is a small amount of money, but how can you make that a valuable research project for yourself and for the society to also support? Does anybody have any questions about the application process so far, or the budget? Okay, good. So then we were going to give some examples of past projects.
Yeah, so I really encourage you to have a look at the Society for Dance Research website, where you can find the sort of research narratives and outputs coming out of the projects that we funded in the past. So to just illustrate a few examples very briefly, we've had something on maypole dancing as microcosm, performing politics, moralities, and national identities. Someone else carried out a project on belly dancing as a preparation for birth, exploring the mythicized origins of belly dancing and issues around dance and pregnancy. There was a project on El Tacachito, Texas-Mexican conjunto dancing in the 21st century. Others worked on inclusion, so movement teaching and movement direction within the intersections of neurodiversity, disability, and fat activism. So it's just a really wide-ranging sort of array of different areas of focus, different methodologies, including practice-based work. It's really inventive and surprising projects, which I think have added really great value to the dance research community. Not only the membership of the society, but our wider circle as well.
And actually, maybe it's worth mentioning that if you received the grant, we ask for you to write a report, which it could be a written report, or it also could be approached more creatively. Some people have shared the full outcome, like Anna Kierakowska shared the full film and also wrote a little bit of a reflection around it. And that's usually made available on the society website and also through our social media. So we use it to further share your work with other researchers within our network, and also to further market the grants for the future years.
Did you want to share the application form just to see what it looks like?
Of course, I had it open earlier and now I can't find it. So this is the application form. It's your standard Google form. Asks you for your email, etc. Current position. If you're a member of the Society for Dance Research, don't worry if you're not. It's just kind of for our analysis. Then for your project title and abstract, then the longer description. Then we also get you to outline any ethical considerations, which we'd really encourage you to think through this as thoroughly as possible, because that is something that the panel who are reviewing your proposal will take a look at and will consider. I don't know if you want to say anything else about that, Lise.
Yeah. I think, if you are part of an institution, then we fully recommend that you use the research ethics approval process of the institution. And if not, we need to sort of be assured that ethics has been thoroughly considered, but we are not responsible for research conduct.
Mhm. We asked you to outline the potential contribution of the research, so the outcomes and the impact. So I guess on the wider field of dance research, that question is relating to. And then the next question is how the proposal would contribute to your development as a researcher. So how that would impact your career, your professional career. There is a budget template which I would highly recommend that you use. It's very simple, and it just again reminds you of what you can and can't apply for, and it's a simple spreadsheet, so it's there for you to take advantage of, which you can download here and then upload with your information in. And then we ask for your CV and then the equal opportunities and monitoring form. And that's the whole application process. Any questions at this point? Feel free to just unmute and go for it.
Is there a word limit?
Can I ask?
Oh,
it's okay. Whoever that was, go ahead.
this is Adeshola, and I was just asking about the latter questions. Is there a word limit on those?
Yes. Which question was it? The longer description and the project and
No,
the ethics.
After the ethics, and then yeah, the potential contribution and the ethics.
Yeah, there's no word count, but we would encourage you to stay kind of under 500 words.
Thank you.
My question was, do you expect there to be any sort of concrete outputs of this particular project? What I've got in mind to apply for is kind of part of a longer project, and the output wouldn't emerge until later on. Is that acceptable?
Lise, you were nodding.
So yes, that is entirely eligible to be funded, but we do ask that you sort of write up some kind of report that we can share with our community on our website. So in the past we've had, I think, a book project where this grant helped towards the development of one chapter. And yeah, so that is eligible. Yeah.
I have another question, Adeshola again. Is there a place for anything where we could give any kind of visual, not the video to explain the thing, but on the form, like pictures of what we're talking about or anything? Or could we put a link to some pictures?
Yeah, currently there's not on the form, but we would definitely we would welcome that within your application if it's supporting what you're proposing.
Yeah, I think if you just hyperlink it within one of these sections, then the panel can just click on that.
Thank you.
Hello, I have a question. My name is Rachel Strauss, and I am in the process of creating a book project, and I'm in Spain, and it's possible that the product will be in Spanish, hopefully Spanish and English. But if it's just in Spanish, is that something that your committee will consider is not quite within the boundaries of your research granting? Another language.
Interesting question. We've been having conversations for a few years now around issues of language and translation, and accessibility of really amazing dance research that is published in languages other than English. So this is sort of on our radar, and I would say that what you are proposing it wouldn't be a barrier or a limitation necessarily, but we would need to consider that your application in the context of all the other applications in terms of their impact. So yeah, I would say it's definitely worth applying.
I have a question again then. Does one have to be part of a British university or organization?
No, it could be, yeah, your institution could be based anywhere in the world, or as Ella said at the beginning, we sometimes receive applications from researchers or artists who are not affiliated with any institution, so it's not a requirement.
I have one more question. I would like to apply for another grant from another institution, which is not a university. And I imagine, would it be worthwhile to mention that in this grant, that I'm also applying to another grant organ that would help facilitate my project?
Yeah, I think if you can demonstrate that you are getting support from other organisations, that always looks positive.
Even if I'm still in the process of trying to get support, it's not confirmed support.
I think that's probably up to your discretion as to whether you feel how far along the line you are with that, I guess.
Okay.
And how relevant it is to the project.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I've certainly read applications in the past where people have outlined other organizations, institutions that they are being supported by, or I can't remember if it was applying to be supported by, but I think the panel does find that quite helpful to contextualize. So yeah, it doesn't count negatively towards your application. So we'll leave it up to you if you think it would be helpful or not.
Okay, thank you.
I'm in a similar sort of situation, and I wonder whether because it's a relatively small amount of money that the grant offers, and if you're wanting to pay for something that is clearly going to cost more than that, whether it's worth showing that, even if you're still in the process, that you've considered where the rest of that money will come from, so that even if you're still in the process of applying for that, it shows that it's possible for everything that you're asking for to be fulfilled, even if the amount of money that the grant's providing is only part of the whole. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think I would say we are definitely not looking to only fund projects that would come in at £500 overall. But yeah, we're simply looking for the most inspiring, most rigorous, most impactful applications that that are I don't know how to put this, but just the most convincing and most coherent proposals that we as a society would love to sort of get behind and support in this small and limited way that we can.
Thank you, that's really helpful.
Any further questions? Also, just to say, if you're in the application process and you know something comes up, or you feel like you need a little additional support, the Society for Dance Research can help you. So if you get in touch with us at the societydanceresearch@gmail.com, we can try and facilitate that for you. Just bear in mind that I'm part-time, so I only work 2 days a month actually. So don't leave it till 2 days before, because yeah, you might not get a response when you need it. So do allow enough time for that. The other thing that we will offer is Sinibaldo de Rosa, who was meant to be in this session tonight, did previously successfully apply for an Ivor Guest Research Grant, and he's very kindly offered to share his application. So I'm just going to do a little bit of work of removing some personal information from that, and then we can make that available if you would like that. But maybe that's a by email basis. So if you're interested, again, contact us via the Society Dance Research email and we can share that with you.
Can I ask another question?
Yes.
If the deadline is September 1st, so when are you thinking a project might start?
Well,
What is the time period?
We'll be reviewing them at the end of September, and we aim to get back to people as quickly as possible. I'm aiming for the beginning of October. So it could be October, November. I maybe wouldn't, there might need to be a bit of flexibility with that. I know that's not a very good answer, but sometimes we just, because of the voluntary basis of the society, things can, you know, we need to rearrange and things like that. But I think this year things are looking to run pretty tightly. So October, November should be a good time for the project to begin.
So if we submit a project that we're thinking would start in October, mid-October,
yeah,
that would be okay. And what is should we say, is it for a year? Like, would we be writing a report a year later, or what would be the length of the project?
Not necessarily. I mean, in your timeline, you can outline that for yourself, really. We originally did have it as a year, I believe, but because of COVID, I still haven't received invoices from some people who got it 3 years ago. So we will be as flexible as we can to accommodate for that, and also to accommodate for any changes in your project as well, because we know that things just don't always go to plan. Is that helpful?
Yeah, thank you.
Actually, that raises another question. Is if someone was to be successful, would they have to submit receipts, and then the money is reimbursed on the basis of receipts? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so receipts and your invoice. So usually people are invoicing after the work has been completed. I mean, I guess if there was a case where you needed to pay people up front and you had the invoices for that, we could arrange for that as well. I also just want to make clear that we are very old-fashioned in our payment system, and we need to issue payment via check. So if you need to have the money quite immediately, you might just want to think about when you're going to time that invoice getting to us.
Thank you.
So if there are no further questions, I think we might have covered everything from our end right now. Of course, if you have any further questions, please feel free to drop us an email. If there's something about the application form that isn't working for you, if you want to do the video application and it doesn't quite work, I'd really appreciate your feedback on that, because it's the first year we're really properly trying to do it, but it's still not quite in place, and we're trying to make it as accessible as possible. So please offer us feedback, because we just really need to hear from people how it works and things like that. Any final comments, Lise?
No, not really. Yeah, just that. Yeah, I look forward to reading your applications as part of the panel, and yeah, best of luck to everyone.
So thank you everyone for joining us this evening, and yeah, best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for putting on the session. It's great to be able to talk to people who know what's needed before commencing the application form. It's really helpful and supportive. So thank you very much.